When people think of whales, they usually imagine size first: a huge body, a spray of mist, and a dark shape rolling through open water. Size is real, but it is not the most important part of the story. The core fact is that whales are mammals that became fully aquatic while keeping mammalian biology. They still breathe air, regulate body temperature internally, nurse live young, and depend on long developmental care. That means every part of whale life is a balancing act between ocean demands and mammal constraints. They cannot pause and extract oxygen from water like fish. They must surface on schedule, manage energy across long migrations, and raise calves in an environment where food, temperature, and risk shift constantly. Seeing whales clearly starts with this perspective. They are not just ocean giants, they are mammalian systems pushed to an extreme, where anatomy, behavior, and timing all have to work together. Taxonomically, whales sit inside the cetacean lineage along with dolphins and porpoises. In casual language, people often separate those groups, but evolution does not draw that boundary in the same way. Even more surprising is where cetaceans sit in the larger mammal tree. They belong within the order that includes even-toed ungulates, and their closest non-cetacean living relatives are hippopotamuses. Their shared ancestry goes back roughly 54 million years, before the whale branch became fully marine. That relationship matters because it corrects a common misconception: whales did not start as fish-like creatures and drift toward mammal traits. They began as land mammals and transformed into marine specialists through gradual adaptation. Their modern form preserves clues of that history, including lungs, warm blood, and reproductive biology that still follows mammalian patterns. Evolution here is not about replacing identity, but about retooling an identity for a radically different physical world. Modern whales are divided into two major parvoters: baleen whales, known as Mysticidae, and toothed whales, known as Odontocidae. Their last common ancestor is estimated around 34 million years ago, and from that point forward they followed different feeding strategies. Baleen whales include rorquals, right whales, the pygmy right whale line, and the gray whale line. Toothed whales include sperm whales, belugas, narwhals, beaked whales, and the families that contain dolphins and porpoises. This split is not just about whether teeth are present. It reflects opposite solutions to obtaining energy in the ocean. One strategy is bulk filtering of tiny prey in massive volumes of water. The other is active pursuit of individual prey, often in deeper, darker zones. Both can support large bodies and long-range movement, but they demand different sensory priorities, different movement patterns, and different ecological opportunities. Understanding whales means understanding why both strategies can succeed under changing ocean conditions. Whale size ranges are extraordinary. Smaller species like the dwarf sperm whale are only a few meters long, while the blue whale reaches nearly 30 meters and around 190 tons, the largest known animal in Earth's history. That record is not just a spectacle fact, it reveals how marine environments can support body plans that land ecosystems usually cannot. Buoyancy reduces gravitational stress, and continuous water support allows mass to scale upward when feeding systems can keep pace. But giant size carries costs. Large whales need enormous and reliable food intake, long developmental periods, and stable migration routes connecting feeding and breeding zones. Reproduction is relatively slow, so population recovery after losses is often measured in decades rather than years. Some species also show sexual dimorphism, with females larger than males, which likely relates to gestation and calf support under high energetic demands. In whales, size is power, insulation, and endurance, but also vulnerability when ecosystems or human pressures disrupt the balance. Baleen whales replaced. Teeth with baleen plates, keratin structures that hang from the upper jaw like dense fringed curtains. During feeding, many species engulf huge mouthfuls of prey-rich water, then force the water out while trapping krill or plankton. In rorquals, expandable throat pleats dramatically increase mouth volume, turning each lunge into a high-capacity filtration event. Their skull architecture supports this strategy, with heads that can represent an enormous fraction of total body size. The method seems simple, but it depends on precision ecology. Filtering only works when tiny prey are concentrated enough to justify each energetic feeding maneuver. So baleen whales are tightly linked to regions and seasons where ocean productivity creates dense patches of plankton or krill. Their sensory and movement patterns align with this patchy resource map. Instead of hunting one target at a time, they harvest biological clouds. Their gigantism is therefore not a mystery of strength alone, but of repeated efficiency at massive fluid processing scale. Toothed whales operate with a different design logic. Their conical teeth are built for gripping prey such as fish and squid, and many species rely on highly developed hearing to navigate and hunt in low-visibility environments. This is especially true in deep-diving lineages where light disappears and pressure rises quickly. Sperm whales are a prime example. They can stay submerged for long periods, descend into deep water, and target squid where few competitors forage effectively. Deep hunting requires oxygen management, controlled ascent and descent behavior, and precise sensory interpretation in three-dimensional darkness. Unlike baleen filtering, this strategy is about locating, tracking, and capturing discrete prey items, each encounter with variable success. The energetic rhythm is therefore different: long dives, targeted pursuit, and recovery intervals. Toothed whales show how cetacean evolution could solve the same survival problem with a predatory toolkit rather than a filtration toolkit, creating two distinct pathways to dominance in marine food webs. Even in a fully aquatic lifestyle, whales are constrained by lungs. They breathe through blowholes positioned on top of the head, a placement that allows fast air exchange at the surface with minimal interruption to forward movement. Every dive is a calculated trade-off between oxygen use, foraging opportunity, and travel efficiency. Some species can remain underwater for extended periods, and sperm whales may approach about 90 minutes under suitable conditions. That performance depends on integrated physiology, oxygen storage in blood and muscle, controlled circulation priorities during dives, and metabolic strategies that conserve energy when submerged. Blubber adds insulation and energy reserves, supporting thermal stability in cold waters and buffering periods of reduced feeding. Streamlined fusiform bodies and flippers reduce drag and improve cruising performance, though whales generally prioritize endurance over rapid agility seen in some other marine mammals. Their entire movement ecology can be read as a repeating cycle of breath, descent, search, ascent, and renewal. Sound is central to whale life. In open water, visibility can be limited by distance, depth, and light conditions, but acoustic signals travel efficiently. Whales produce diverse vocalizations, from short social calls to complex song structures, famously in humpback whales. These signals likely support mate attraction, spacing, coordination, and broader social context over distances where visual contact is impossible. For migratory species spread across vast ranges, sound can function like a long-range communication network that helps maintain population-level connectivity. Acoustic behavior also reveals that whales are not simply drifting giants. They are information-processing animals whose success depends on detecting, producing, and interpreting signals in dynamic environments. When ocean noise from shipping and industry increases, communication space can shrink, which may alter behavior and stress levels even when no direct physical contact occurs. So whale conservation is not only about preventing deaths, it is also about protecting the acoustic conditions that make normal life possible. Migration and reproduction are tightly linked in many whale species. Productive high-latitude waters often support feeding, while lower-latitude areas can provide conditions favorable for calving. The result is long seasonal movement, sometimes thousands of miles, with individuals shifting between energy accumulation and reproductive investment. Mating patterns are uneven. Males may seek multiple mates in a season, while females commonly reproduce every few years because gestation and nursing are energetically expensive. Calves are often born in spring or summer, and maternal care is intense. In some species, mothers may fast while nursing, converting stored body energy into milk to sustain rapid calf development. That means female condition before and during migration can strongly influence calf survival. Population trajectories therefore depend on more than birth counts. They depend on prey reliability, migration safety, and disturbance levels across the entire route. Reproduction in whales is not a single event, but an ocean-scale logistical chain with many points of failure. Human interaction with whales has shifted dramatically over time. Industrial whaling once drove severe declines, reducing some populations to dangerously low numbers. International legal protections now exist, and commercial pressure has fallen in many places, but recovery remains uneven because whale life histories are slow. Long lifespans and infrequent reproduction mean that rebuilding depleted populations can take decades even under better policy. Meanwhile, modern threats remain significant. Bycatch in fishing gear, marine pollution, and broader habitat pressures continue to affect survival. For critically stressed groups, even moderate additional mortality can block recovery. Effective protection requires more than declaring species protected. It requires practical management in fisheries, routing and speed policies in high-risk marine corridors, and long-term monitoring to detect whether interventions work. Conservation for whales is therefore a systems challenge. Biology sets the pace, but human governance determines whether that pace leads toward recovery or decline. Whales also carry deep cultural weight. Indigenous Arctic communities have long traditions of using whale resources in context-specific ways tied to survival and social structure. In global culture, whales appear as symbols of awe, mystery, obsession, and power, shaping public imagination through literature and film. In modern economies, whale watching has transformed many populations from hunted commodities into living drivers of tourism. That shift can support conservation by creating local incentives to keep whales alive, but it also demands careful regulation to minimize disturbance. Captivity debates add further complexity. Some smaller cetaceans have been held in managed settings, yet welfare and breeding outcomes have often raised concerns. The broader lesson is that whales are not only ecological actors, they are moral and political actors in human decision-making. How societies frame whales, as resource, relative, spectacle, or sentinel, influences laws, funding, and behavior. Cultural narratives are not side stories, they help shape biological futures. Taken together, whales represent one of evolution's most powerful demonstrations of adaptation at scale. A land mammal lineage moved into the sea and produced giants that can filter microscopic prey, predators that hunt in deep darkness, and migrants that cross ocean basins with astonishing regularity. Yet none of this erased their mammalian foundations. They still breathe air, nurse young, and depend on social and ecological timing that can be disrupted quickly by human activity. That duality is the key to understanding whales. They are resilient over geological time, but vulnerable over political time. Their future depends on whether marine systems remain productive, connected, and acoustically usable, and whether human industries can operate without pushing already stressed populations beyond recovery thresholds. If we view whales only as icons, we miss the mechanisms that keep them alive. If we understand those mechanisms, conservation stops being abstract and becomes a set of concrete choices equal to the scale of the animals themselves. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.